All right. Apologize that we had to stop that, but it goes for 20 minutes. So I guess if we just did that and journaled for 20 minutes, might be good enough. But I've got Ruby here in the room with me, and I think I've mentioned to you before when I've played that. I always ask her, "Tell me what she's saying," and basically what Ruby was just telling me is that what you were just listening to is she's singing about the goddess of knowledge, power, and wealth is what Ruby was saying. So kind of cool to think about, and I don't know about you guys, but I actually could sit and just listen to that for the 20 minutes and be happy. But we're going to do a message instead. So here we go. You can go look that up and do it later on if you want to. It's the Debbie prayer. So hey, so here's what I wanted to talk about. So and actually the interesting thing about this is I yesterday at about, I don't know, almost 5 o'clock, I was asking a number of people, hey, what should I talk about for tomorrow? And I got a lot of different ideas from people of things that I should share. But, you know, the thing that just has kept coming to me over and over again last night and this morning, and just as I've thought about it more and more, I just have felt like I wanted to talk to you. I've got actually two things that I'm going to hit on. So, but the first one, which I actually is interesting, is I'm going to talk about it, but I actually didn't really want to talk about it, but I just felt like last night and again this morning, I needed to talk about it. So I hope whoever needs to hear this is paying attention and listening, and maybe it's me that needs to hear it. That's probably the more likely what it is that I need to hear what I'm about to say. But here's what it is I want to talk to you a little bit today about the use of a journal and the importance of a journal. Now, as I do that, I'm going to first start with, though, the objective of Century 21 Everest is really about helping you as an agent to become your very best. So at the end of the day, really, it is about you becoming and who you become. And you will hear John and George talk about quite often referring to Jim Rohn talking about, or to his mentor, and his mentor saying to him, I want you to become a millionaire, and I want you to become the millionaire not because of the money, but because of the person you have to become in order for you to earn that type of money. Well, so that's really what the objective of this company is about you becoming your very best and who you have to become in order to accomplish the goals and the objectives and the things that you want to do. Well, here's what I have found. So for me, I have been here now just over 5 years with Everest, which I can't believe it has been that long. But here's what I have learned. When I came here, I guess first thing I'll say I learned is when I first got here and I started doing these affirmations, I remember standing there thinking like, what is this? This is weird. Like, I don't think I'm going to dig doing this. And I'm glad I don't ever have to stand up in front of people and do these. And now here I am doing it all the time. But here's the thing. At the end of the day, the other thing that I noticed when I first started here at Everest was that we would take the time to write in the journals. And really, I would just sit down and just write down, I'm grateful for my family. I'm grateful for sunshine and, you know, whatever, stuff like that. Well, what I have come to learn and realize, and I hope you have, and if you haven't, I guess that's why I'm wanting to share this with you, is the importance of writing in a journal. The way that you are going to become the person you need to become in order for you to accomplish the goals and objectives that you want to accomplish is going to happen as a result of you taking the time to write in a journal. Now, I always thought about journaling as being similar to what a kid would do, or a teenage girl, of writing in their diary of, oh, this boy was so mean to me, or whatever. Like, that's what I always thought about in terms of journaling. But what I have come to learn, and hope that you have, and if you haven't, if you'll start to do this, it is going to change your life, is you should be using a journal as a way of figuring things out. We got to stop and write things in the journal. Now, here's the part that I felt like I needed to share with you that I wasn't sure that I necessarily wanted to share with you, but I'm going to do it anyway. So here we go. About a month and a half ago, so probably about 6 weeks ago, I have shared with you guys before, I love baseball. And I get involved. I have 3 boys, and all 3 of my sons, I have either been their head coach in baseball or I've been an assistant coach to their teams all throughout, pretty much up until high school for them and playing baseball. Well, my youngest is 12 years old right now, and I am helping coach on his team. In fact, I'm in charge of all the pitchers. So during a game, I'm the one that's sitting there telling the catcher what pitches to call for the game. And I just love doing it. And as part of me doing that, I grow to just love the kids that I am coaching in baseball. And I have shared with you guys actually before, there is a kid on the team. Now, because of the story I'm going to share, I've shared his name in the past. I'm not going to this time for fear that one of you knows him and his dad, who I'm going to talk about here. And I don't want it getting back to them. But I've shared with you before, one of the kids on the team was leading the team in his batting average. He was batting almost 800 early on in the season this year. And for you guys that don't know, that means 8 times out of every 10 that he got up to bat, he would get a hit. Well, in the professional leagues, if you're hitting in the 300s, you are doing amazing, which means you're getting a hit 3 out of 10 times. Well, he was getting a hit 8 out of 10, which is that's impressive. But for a kid's 12 years old, a good hitter is probably going to be in the 500s or 600s. Well, he's batting in the 800s. And I said one day, as he was getting up to ready to bat, I said, "Hey, you're going to get a hit, right?" And he said, "Yep." And I said, "Why?" And he said, "Because I know I am going to get a hit." And so I have just grown to love this kid because his mindset was so strong of, I just know I am going to get a hit. And so because he knew he was going to get a hit, he kept getting hits. Well, as I said, I've grown to love this kid, and he is probably one of the hardest working kids on the team. In fact, I tell my son all the time, why don't you try to emulate what this kid is doing, because he is one of the hardest workers on the team. So, and I tell you all this so that you can understand the backstory of what I'm about to share with you now. Well, about 6 weeks ago, we're playing in a tournament, and this is over the 4th of July, that weekend. So we're playing in this baseball tournament, and it was hot. And this was the Monday after the 4th of July. So it was the 6th or 7th, something like that. Well, we're playing in this game, and we are now in our 3rd game of the day. So we've played 2 other games. We're halfway through the 3rd game. It's hot, and the whole day has been hot. Well, this kid, his dad actually helps coach as well, but he has 3 sons, and he was off watching one of his other sons. Well, so his son comes out to catch. Now, because I am in charge of the pitchers, if the catcher is still putting his catcher's gear on, I go out and warm up the pitcher while he's getting his catcher's gear on. So I'm out there warming up the pitcher. Well, this kid, usually when he comes out to catch, he puts his catcher's gear on just fast. He'll get his catcher's gear on and he'll come running out. So I usually end up catching 1 or 2 pitches from the pitcher as I'm warming him up. Well, on this particular day, now remember, it's hot outside. I keep looking over, like the pitcher's thrown to me 4 or 5, 6 pitches, and I'm like, he's usually out here by now. What's going on? And I'm looking over there, and he's just kind of sitting on the bench, and he's getting ready, but he's getting ready really slow, which is out of character for him. And so he finally jumps up, and he comes running out to take over for me behind the plate to start catching and to get the inning going, but he's not carrying his catcher's glove as he runs out. And I was thinking, well, that's weird. So he comes running up to me, and I stand up, and I said, "Hey, where's your catcher's glove?" And he said, "Well, I'm just going to use yours." Now, one of the things you guys might not know, but I'm left-handed, and he's not left-handed. So the catcher's glove for me goes on my right hand. His catcher's glove would go on his left hand, and he says, "I'm just going to use your catcher's glove." And I said, "Well, but I'm left-handed." And he just kind of stared at me like, "So?" He didn't say that, but that's what I felt like he was saying, was like, "So?" And I was like, "You can't use my glove. I'm left-handed." Well, he goes back and gets one, and we ask him, "Well, where's your glove?" And he says, "Well, I don't know where it's at. I couldn't find it." So we just grab a different kid's right-handed catcher's glove, give it to him, he goes out. Well, one of the other kids on the team, his mom is an ER doctor. So I turned to the mom, who is just sitting outside of the field, and I said to her, "Hey, will you check on him when he comes back in? Because I'm worried he might be dehydrated." And the reason I was worried about him being dehydrated is because he was so out of character for how long it took him to get out there. when he came out, he's saying, I'm just going to use your glove. And I said, well, I'm left-handed. And he looked at me like, well, what does that matter? Like, that just is not how this kid is. And so I was a little worried about him. And so I went down the fence a little ways. I found his mom and I said, has he been drinking water today? And she said, I'm pretty sure he has. And I said, okay, well, that's great. Now, as he started to catch, he did just fine. So at that point, I went from being concerned that this kid is dehydrated to now, okay, that's kind of funny that he came out and was going to want to use my catcher's glove. Well, that was kind of the end of it. It was over. We didn't really worry about it. Well, the next week we go to practice, and this is the first time I see his dad at practice. And as we're at practice, I'm talking to the head coach, who is a fireman, and so he wasn't at the tournament because he was out doing his job, protecting us from fires and things. And I'm standing at practice talking to the head coach saying, hey, I got to tell you about this experience. And I'm telling it to the head coach now, as I thought it was kind of funny, just because he came running out and wanted to use my catcher's glove, which just seemed weird to me. Well, as I'm telling him that, his dad walks up to me and says, why do you got to try to expose a kid? And I was like, what? Like, I was totally caught off guard. And he's like, I just can't believe you would try to expose a kid in the middle of a game. Now, at first for me, I wasn't even sure what he meant by exposing a kid. But essentially what he meant was like trying to make him look bad to the rest of the team or the parents or the whatever. And I was so caught off guard, because now remember what I've already told you. I love this kid, and I think he is the standout, perfect example of he works his butt off and all that. So I'm just blown away at that. Now, I then apologized, said, I'm totally sorry. Like, it was not about exposing him at all. This was all about me trying to help him and to make sure that he was okay, that he wasn't going to pass out from heat exhaustion in the middle of a game. Well, here's my point about this in talking about journaling. Because of that experience, it really set me back a bit, meaning like I have for essentially 6 weeks until last night, and this is where I'm talking about the purpose of us using a journal needs to be about us improving who we are and getting better. And so what I did is I took some time over the past 6 weeks. I have been writing it down and really thinking about and writing about, like, what created that? Why did that happen? And and more important is, why have I been so worried about it? And with his dad, and just really trying to figure out this whole process and everything that has gone on. Well, essentially last night in my journal, here's when it hit me. So I was writing in my journal about this, and here's when it hit me, of something that you guys have heard said at Everest over and over and over again, but it took on a whole new meaning for me. And I hope it does for you as well. And that is this: everyone is doing the very best that they know how. So meaning, when he came up to me, based upon the information that he had, he was responding, not because, I realized last night, not because it was his son, but because he has the same love for all of the kids. And he felt, or somehow got word, because he wasn't even there, he got word from somebody that I was trying to make his son look bad, which was not what was going on. But I realized last night when we were at practice, and afterwards I was thinking about watching him at practice last night, and it hit me that I've distanced myself from him. I've kind of pushed him away, because I was kind of like, I can't believe you're such a jerk that you would think that I would try to do that. But because of writing in a journal, it helped me realize everyone is doing the best they know how. And I recognized last night that this wasn't about his son. I have felt like for the last 6 weeks, all he was trying to do was that he was worried I was making his son look bad. But I realized last night that is not what it was. And I realized it because of writing in a journal and paying attention to what he was doing with the kids at practice. And he will try to help every single kid become better. And in fact, he pushes them to become their very best. So part of what I'm hoping you will use a journal for, if you're not, is write down problems that you have, things that you're struggling with, whether it's real estate related or relationship related. Because remember, we've got the 3 pillars: our health, our relationships, and our business. Well, this one was about a relationship with somebody else that I was using the journal that helped me work through my issues. See, that's the funny thing. For 6 weeks, I've been trying to figure out what his issue was. I realized last night the issue was about me, not about him. And it's because of writing in a journal. And the way that you are going to become your very best is by taking the time to write in the journal those type of things. See, what happens by writing it in a journal is it creates distance between you and the problem and helps it to become real and allows you to work through it and figure it out. Now, I know I haven't said really anything necessarily real estate related, but at the end of the day, who you are and who you become is going to determine your success more than anything else. So please make sure you're taking the time to write in a journal and use it as a way to figure out how you can become better, because as you become better, so will your business. All right. Well, in the last few minutes, I took way longer than I intended to there, but I'm going to share with you, I'm going to give you a few ideas. So I had written down actually last night too, 4 ideas, and I'm not going to go into great detail on them because I took so much time on that, but I'm going to give you 4 ideas that I have noticed that top producers do. And these are characteristics that some top producers have. And I want you to think about, as I talk about them, how are you doing in these 4 areas that I'm going to talk about, that top producers have and do that create for them the immense amount of success that they have. So the first one is this that I wrote down, is top producers are extremely positive in good times and extremely positive in bad times. See, we have had a ton of people recently thinking, well, I'm just going to take time off. In fact, yesterday, Joe Villascusa on Morning Ascent said he had agents that just said, hey, because of all this, I'm going to just take a vacation and leave. Well, top producing agents are extremely positive in the good times, but they're also extremely positive in the bad times. So how are you in staying positive in what's going on? Now, hopefully for you, it's because I know I'm somewhat preaching to the choir. It's probably the people that are not on here that need to be hearing what I'm saying. But how are you in terms of staying positive, regardless of the situation or what is going on, of finding the positive in it? Because top producers do that. Now, ask yourself this, am I hanging out with people who are negative? Because if you are, you got to tune it out or turn it off, is what I would say, is tune it out or turn it off, meaning get away from the people if that's what you have to do. But top producers are extremely positive thinkers all the time. Number 2, top producers think big. Like, you got to think big. The biggest thing that's holding you back is right here between your ears. It's you that's holding you back. It's your belief of what you can do and what you believe you can do. On the screen right now, I am seeing, like on a video, I can see my buddy, John Aubrey. And I can't help but think about with John of like, you guys have heard him before on Morning Ascent talking with George. He could use he's got excuses perfectly that he could just say, hey, I'm just not going to be successful. But he doesn't use them. In fact, he takes what to you and I could look like a disadvantage and has turned it into an advantage for him. When he goes door knocking, he is way more successful than you and I would be. But you would look at him if you watch him walk and say, oh, you probably shouldn't door knock. You should get on the phone and make calls. But he doesn't. He goes and knocks on doors. So, John, give me a thumbs up. Are you knocking on doors again, or have you not been? Thumbs up or thumbs down? You can't unmute. I won't let you. So, no thumbs up? You're not going to give me a thumbs up or a down? Oh, there we go. I got it. Okay, yeah, he is. Good, good. So, hey, be a big thinker. Don't let what's going on in your head hold you back from what you should be doing, because you can accomplish and do way more than you believe you're capable of doing. You just have to do it. And top producers just think bigger. All right, number 3. You're not going to like this one, so, tune out, I guess. But you're not going to like it. Pay attention. They role play. They practice. Top producers role play and practice. Professionals role play and practice. They practice. I promise you, top producing athletes practice. The Utah Jazz and then the Lakers, I guess, if you guys from California are Lakers fans, but the Utah Jazz are in the playoffs and so are the Lakers. I guarantee you they are practicing before the next game. And they are spending more time practicing than they're actually playing in the game. Now, I don't think that we expect that of you, that if you're going to prospect for 3 hours today, that you should go and role play for 6 hours before you go do that. I don't think we think that, but you at least ought to get up and do a few role plays before you jump on the phone. to make sure that you are ready to go for your prospecting. Top producing people role play and practice. If you remember Brian Burnett talking last week, he practices. The guy's going to make $1.6 million and he practices. Maybe if you're not making the income of your goals and you're not practicing, maybe that's what's holding you back. We offer it every morning. You can jump on a Zoom with it. We haven't made it, I don't think we can make it any easier. 7 a.m. Utah time. So unfortunately for you guys, California, that'd be 6. But hey, if you're committed, you will get on and practice and role play, or find someone that you can practice and role play with. Top producers are doing that. And then the fourth thing that I'm going to sum this up and then we're going to wrap up with is this: top producing agents prospect. Top producing agents prospect every day. It is the most important thing in their schedule every day. So for you, the question I have for you, do you have that in your schedule? Do you have prospecting in your schedule? And if so, are you following it? Are you protecting it like an appointment? You would never no-show to a listing appointment, never no-show your prospecting appointment either. Make sure you are practicing and then jumping on the phone and doing your prospecting every single day. Now, with that, hopefully that's what you're ready to do now, is go and prospect. But if not, get it in your schedule and start to plan to do it. Well, hey, thanks for being with me. Hopefully you got something out of it. Take the time to do the journaling, because as I just noticed, Judy put a thought in there. She said, I never thought about it distancing between yourself and the problem. Yeah, that is exactly what it will do, is it puts some distance. It helps you to be able to see, is what I'm thinking correct, or am I making it worse than it is or better than it is? See, to put it, writing it down creates that distance to have it be what it is, not better or worse. So thanks, Judy. All right, so take time to do that. Make sure that you are prospecting and that you are role playing. Make sure you're thinking big and stay positive. All right, make it an awesome day, guys. Let's go ahead and wrap it up with some closing affirmations once I get them pulled.